All right, everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we're going to be talking about a big transition that is quickly approaching. It's on the horizon. We're going to have to be, getting ready for it, preparing our accounts, our mindsets, and even to an extent, switching how we've been spending relics and gear. And this transition that I'm referring to is the Stranger. We've got to start thinking about this guy hitting our accounts. He's about 3 weeks away for some of us of unlocking him. And this will be the first character that we will have to go from 0 to 85 and gear 13 with, inside of this anniversary update that hasn't been available to us before. Every other character has been available before this update. Their marquee came out before the update. This will be the first time that we'll have had that happen. And for some players, they might be caught kind of unaware or unprepared because they've spent a lot of their relic materials. So we're going to kind of talk about how to get ready for that, and then kind of, carrying that same mindset forward into these other era units. So, like, subscribe, comment. Channel members, you guys are the best. You guys got to let me know if you liked the graphics. It sometimes can be a lot to keep up with, and other times I just felt like it would kind of like interrupt the video, even like I'm doing right now. So you guys let me know what you think. Love you guys. Let's get in here and let's take a look at how to start preparing. All right, so the first thing you guys need to do, right, is look at your resources right now and think about what relic level you want to take the Stranger to. You've got to think about the team you're going to use him in, right? Again, going through reminding you of his kit, because we've had a lot of them lately. He needs to have no GL allies, 1 Jedi, 1 light side unaligned Force user, and 2 dark side unaligned Force users. So, we've got a lot to consider there. When I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking about, all right, what characters do I probably want to use with him? I've got a few options. Obviously, somebody like Barisafi could make a lot of sense with him. Old Ben could make a lot of sense. Where the hell is Old Ben? Old Ben can make a lot of sense. Jahani would be another one. I've seen some people kind of float around. There's another Jedi that you can use. And then thinking of a light side unaligned Force user, Visas Mar makes a lot of sense for that team. But again, so there's a couple of these characters, hey, maybe we need to start boosting up Visas Mar's relic levels. Relic 5 isn't going to cut it anymore. I know you guys can't see her. Let me hide the fat face here for a sec. So, like, Relic 5, probably not going to cut it on her. If I went to my old Ben, like I was showing you guys, I don't know if everybody could see the relic level that he was. But my old Ben also, in a similar situation with Relic 5. We're going to need to figure out what relic levels make sense for these characters. So, again, just kind of waiting to see how all of that continues to pan out. But, a big thing nonetheless to consider with this guy is, do you not just have the relics for him, but also the characters you're going to use with him? Because the 2 dark side unaligned Force users, if we're being honest, they're probably pretty nailed on at the moment with Starkiller and Malicos. I feel like that will be, you could say, oh, well, I'll use Starkiller and maybe I'll use someone else, which, hey, that's a great, you could use Maul there. You could use, a random Inquisitor, OG Kylo. There's a couple different options. The reason I'm thinking Malicos at the moment is because I do feel like the Stranger team is going to replace that Seer team. You could split them out, try to do some different things. I think we'll have to wait and see how that plays together there. Because the one thing with the Stranger that I had not seen is the ability to prevent revives, which is what Malicos has in his unique. So if you're looking at that Stranger team thinking of going up against Rey teams, you've got to consider that if you go to try to kill Ben Solo, he's going to keep coming back with that Stranger team. You kill Ezra Bridger and he's got backup plan, he's going to revive unless you have a way to prevent that, which maybe that is coming later in Maul, in Spider Legs Maul, whatever they're calling him. Whoops, that's Padme. Not you. So, maybe he's got a way to prevent them. We'll have to kind of, play that by ear. But just think through that. What relic level do you need him at? What relic level do you need the other characters at? And where do your resources kind of currently sit? For me, signal data wise, we're kind of light. We're especially on the green signal data here. We are very light compared to where I'd like to be. In terms of other materials, we're doing okay. We've got plenty of the rest of our other materials. Definitely lighter than we were for a while, but we've also made a lot of upgrades, so we're fine on those. But signal data is going to be something that I really need to be honing in on. And for many of you, that's probably a similar position where maybe you've kind of really run out of something. You've got to start thinking about, okay, I'm going to need this for him and everybody else. Because just think about it for a second here. You know, you're looking at that unaligned force user and Thesis Mar sitting there at Relic 5 in your account. With Relic Delta right now, you go up against a Relic 9 Ray, that ultimate could potentially delete Thesis. So you're going to want to make sure that you're upping the relics on some of those characters so that you're not just getting completely obliterated by the enemy team. And maybe, you know, throw Fulcrum in there or Seer, maybe, you know, again, there's other options. It's just figuring out what team you feel the most confident in using, right? But that also, you know, once you get the Stranger, right, that's a big milestone. That'll be that, like I said, that's the first character that we've had to take to, you know, from zero to this point inside of this era updated system, you know, that we've spent a lot of our relics and stuff. This is the first guy. It's a good big test for us, but we're also inside of 2 months from, you know, Stormtrooper Luke and the rest of these era units getting closer to entering our legacy rosters. For some of you, especially if you've been spending a lot of money on getting them to 7 stars or other places, you've got to now consider getting them beyond that, right? What gear level are you going to get them at? What gear level do you want to take them to? What relic levels? Mods, Zetas, Omicrons, all of that stuff needs to start playing a factor. It doesn't mean that you need to be farming today, but you've got to start thinking through the plan of, all right, I do need to work on these characters, because we've never really had a situation, like I said, you know, we've never had a situation like this before. We've known that characters were coming down the pipeline, but you've kind of been able to almost react to them a little bit earlier, where, okay, you know, I can see the gear pieces I need for them, or I can see this, I can see that. Like these ones, it's just going to kind of, one day you're going to wake up and the characters are going to be sitting in your account and you've got to, you know, react quickly to them. And we can speculate as to which one of them will be the most impactful, but we won't know that until we kind of have them in their teams and we see how they're, you know, interacting with the current characters in the legacy content. You know, so like you don't also want to be like, all right, I'm going to bank on just building up Inquisitor Barris because she's going to be the best character. And then you find out that it's actually IG-90 with the Dr. Aphra team. You know, like that. There's all, you know, there's a whole laundry list of, all right, which way are these characters going to go and how do they impact us? And you don't want to shoehorn yourself into one and then pick the wrong one and end up kind of in, you know, up a creek without a paddle there. So with that in mind, how do you want to be preparing yourself? What steps do you want to take so that you are in a position to at least react to these characters? Now, first thing you're going to want to look at is figure, okay, I'm going to get these characters to probably level 65, which is gear 12, right? Unless you're getting level 75 somehow, which is gear 13, you're probably looking at about a gear 12 character, right? That's going to be the math there is gear 12. So with a gear 12 character, you're going to want to think, all right, 6 times gear 12s, I'm going to need to make sure that I'm, you know, farming the pieces here, right? That I'm farming these pieces. I'm going to want to make sure that I've got signal data ready and, you know, whatever other, you know, materials, right? How I would go about doing that is I would start to hoard a little bit. Not a lot of it. Like, don't think, okay, I'm not doing any other upgrades besides the Stranger. I wouldn't quite go that direction. But I would just start to, okay, I'm not going to gear 12 every single character I can. I'm not going to do every relic I can. I'm going to kind of wait. I'm going to see which ones make the most sense. I'm going to see which ones actually get me something that I really need in my account at the moment. A good example, you know, that I'm going to probably use for my own account right now is my Darth Treya team. I'm not really ready to go beyond Relic 5 for this whole team yet. You know, I'd love to, but we'll kind of have to see where we're at with the Stranger in them, because it is a lot that is, you know, again, it's 60 fragmented signal data pieces alone. That's 300 blue signal data that I need for all of them. So, you know, 300 blue signal data for all of them. I'm currently only at 200, and you figure how much of that is reserved for the Stranger. So we've kind of got a long way to go on that, where it might not be going to happen immediately. And that's kind of the balance where I think we're going to get to is, you're going to find that kind of equilibrium, if you will, of, all right, here's the amount of time I need to get the gear and materials for these era-based units so that when they do go legacy, I'm prepared for them. And then while they're still in that era level, era-related content, I can then work on this number of relic characters and still have the time. So that's what I would be doing with this kind of time, is figure out, all right, 56 days, where am I at? Where do I need to get to? What will make me feel comfortable and confident that I'm going to make the right choices? Because you think we are going to be able, if you're investing in those characters, Spider-Leg Maul should unlock at 4-star, and then again, you could get them to 5-star. So if you're like me, you're getting these characters to 5 stars, trying to unlock Maul, there's some conversation to have there that, okay, Maul will be 5-star, I'll at least want to get him. It'll be Relic 4, it ain't going to be pretty, but maybe there's some ways we can use him. We're going to have to wait and see. Relic Delta kind of throws a wrench into all of that stuff. But also figuring that when these characters do come out of the era, there is going to be era battles for them. We've had these era challenges, but I do think from the recollection, from if I'm recollecting correctly, oh my God, Phil, can't talk today. Those era challenges should start up where you should be able to get and again, we don't have one available to us right now, but you should be able to get the shards for these characters, start to kind of progress them up a bit further than you were. So that will, I think, jumpstart a lot of your accounts, kind of help you get ready to start farming them, and continue to, improve and, progress that account forward. So I do want to encourage you to really start thinking about that, because I don't know that, I know for me, it's kind of slipped my brain a little bit where I was like really gung-ho about it. And then I kind of started going crazy with my relic materials. And then I was like, crap, I got to think about the stranger. Like we're fast approaching that point where, because again, bear in mind, it's not just the stranger. I've got to get his team ready, and think about with all of these characters as well. It's not just them you need to worry about. With Relic Delta in the game, if you're looking at Darth Vader Duel's End and saying, all right, I'm going to use him with Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade, is for me, my Mara Jade is still Relic 5. Do I feel like I'm in a position, okay, now I've got to bring her up to at least Relic 7 so that way she operates properly inside of that team? There's a lot of that will go on where it's not just the relics you need for the characters now, it's the relics you're going to need on their teams, so that way you can best mitigate Relic Delta. Because if we're all honest with ourselves, Relic Delta is playing a huge role in battles right now. It is a very, very, I dare to say detrimental, but it is it's put us in a very tough situation, and it is impacting a lot of different fights to an extent where having some low relic characters has completely cost me GACs, has cost people TWs, simply because you can't keep up with that, rate of, I don't want to say fire, but for example, my Night Sister Spirit, she's Relic 5. That's a bit low to take her up against a Galactic Legend Ahsoka like you used to with the Great Mothers, or even like with Ma's teams. Like she's just gotten she's completely useless to me right now at Relic 5, which sucks. And that could be the same situation that could happen here with some characters where, okay, you've unlocked Stormtrooper Luke and you're going to use him with, Princess Leia and Stormtrooper Han, but they're both Relic 3. So you've now got to, upgrade their relics so that way the character doesn't feel completely useless to you, or you got to be like, all right, I'm not going to work on this. So there's a lot of preparation that I think is going to go in here that I want you to start getting your mind right, thinking through how to do all that stuff, and then hitting it as hard as you can. I'm still very excited about that switch. Like, I'm really looking forward to see how the switch from era related to legacy related stuff happens, what that looks like for accounts. Because as somebody who's a bit more of a, I'd say one of my skills in Swago is that I can look at resources sitting in my account. I can look at this stuff and I can know, hey, I don't need to spend that. I'm not itching to spend this Relic 10. I'm not itching to spend my Relic 10 upgrade on Wampa as much as everybody wants me to do that. I'm not, I don't have that massive itch to do that. I can look at that and say, you know what, I'm okay right now. So the same thing kind of goes for, some of these other materials with characters. You've got to be able to not get that, trigger finger and want to just, relic everybody right away because you have the materials. Got to consider what's coming down the pipeline and what other needs you'll have. That's, the mistake, the advice, guys. Let me know your thoughts. And we have talked about that. But I don't think we've talked about it in relation to the Stranger and then going into, okay, what other teams will these characters need? That's the area that I think you're going to want to combine together, mesh together, and make the best. Let me know your thoughts down below. I love you all. May the Force be with you. Go Birds. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.